Victoria Park.
This was no time to monkey about. Hartlepool versus Darlington, not for the faint-hearted. A big day for everyone, especially Quakers assistant Mick Tate, who used to be Hartlepool's manager. Winning a local derby this early in the season would be a massive bonus. Losing one would be horrible. For a long time, this was Hartlepool's match. Ian Clark, the first to try his luck and the first to be turned away by Quakers keeper Andy Collett. But there was no stopping Mark Tinkler. He got up highest from a corner to head the home side into the early lead they'd been dreaming of, and at this stage it was well-deserved. Things could have turned nasty for Darlington as Poole piled forward trying to kill the game off. It took a brave block from captain Craig Liddell to keep the situation manageable. Things were not going well for the Quakers.
The one thing we didn't want to do was let them score off a set piece, because we knew how dangerous they were off that, and that's what happened. So we were up against it then, but I thought we played really well throughout. There was a lot of passion in the game, and the lads wanted to play, and they played some good football as well at times.
The goals came at just the right times for you, because at that moment you were perhaps a little bit under the cosh, but the goal came at the perfect time.
Yeah, I mean, you concede a goal, and it sometimes takes you a little while to reorganise and that, and people are looking around to see what's happened, and we just had to keep saying, and just get back to the way we were, keep playing, keep plugging away, and it'll come, and gradually we got back in the game and started to control it.
Brian Atkinson's equaliser was a shock to the system for Hartlepool. They nearly went in front again through Tommy Widdrington, but not for the first time. There was no way past Collett. Then the Quakers turned the whole thing on its head. Neil Wainwright took off towards the danger zone, and he frightened the wits out of the defence to the extent that Danny Mellenby was left with little more than a tap-in for what turned out to be the winner.
We got ourselves into a winning position. Andy Collett made a brilliant save, and one was kicked off the line, which would have made it 2-0. And then Darlington, who had 2 chances in the first half and put them away. But we were second best. I'm very disappointed with the team performance and the individuals, and obviously we're not happy.
The second half was typical derby fare and largely controlled by Darlington, although they were relieved to see Darryl Clark smash Poole's best chance of an equaliser over the top. Indeed, the Quakers should have made it safe, but Neil Wainwright somehow managed to hit the bar when hitting the net was surely easier. Hartlepool threw the kitchen sink at it in the closing moments, but it wasn't their day, and the manager was the first to admit that it wasn't what the supporters had come to see.
Well, I think the way that they've performed today, and because it's against Darlington, then we're looking for players to stand up and be counted in the next game on Monday against Leyton Orient, that's for sure.
I can't tell lies and say it was just another ordinary third division game, because it wasn't. It meant a lot to me today to come back here and get the 3 points, but we've just got to keep working hard and continue that sort of performance throughout the season.
England wasn't the only North East derby over the bank holiday weekend. In Division 3, Hartlepool faced Darlington, but they both played another game since then. Darlington certainly enjoyed their bank holiday weekends. Yesterday at Feetham's, Barry Conlon scored against a Bristol Rovers side who were top of Division 3. Quakers keeper Andy Collett superbly denied Rovers in the last minute of the game. A great save against his old club.
It's a big game for us today, big game for me personally, playing against my former team, and to make a save, which sort of kept the 3 points for us, really pleased.
Referee Graham Salisbury took centre stage as Darlington came within 12 minutes at Lincoln of making it 4 league wins on the trot. First, he managed to miss this blatant handball by Steve Holmes from Danny Mellenby's cross. But he made up for it by spotting Lee Thorpe grabbing a handful of Barry Conlon's shirt. Penalty to the Quakers. Mark Ford sent keeper Paul Pettinger the wrong way. 20 minutes gone, 1-0 Darlington. And it stayed that way until 11 minutes from time. City's substitute Dave Camero had only just come onto the pitch when he beat Andy Collett for Lincoln's equaliser. Darlington did have the ball in the net again before the final whistle, but the ref got it right, Conlon using his hand instead of his head. But a handy point which keeps the Quakers up with the pack.
But here's the one that you've been waiting for, Bob. See, Bob's a Darlington fan. The Quakers were at home to Carlisle yesterday. It counts as a derby match, and the form book was very nearly thrown out of the window.
Third top against second bottom at Feetham's. He would have put a few of George Reynolds' millions on this one, bringing 3 points for the Quakers. In the end, they were more than happy to scrape just the one. Former Hartlepool striker Steve Halliday put the Cumbrians in front, and if that wasn't a foul by Craig Liddell, well, that was handball. A good spot by the ref, and from the spot, Richie Forand made it 2-0 to Carlisle. Darlington hadn't lost since the opening day of the season down at Southend, and they desperately needed to get one back before the break. Right on cue, ex-Sunderland winger Neil Wainwright started and finished the move, which made it 2-1 just before the turnaround. The Quakers back in the hunt, but Carlisle had the chances to wrap up what would have been their first win of the season. Instead, Barry Conlon got the Quakers out of jail with an injury-time equaliser. That's 5 games without defeat now. Darlington are still in touch at the top.
Well, Bob, the first time you've seen those goals and a broad smile across your face there with the equaliser.
I love Jeff's got Darlington out of jail. I thought George Reynolds would be proud of that one anyway, to be fair. But it was a bit of a smash and grab, and he's done well, and you know, I'm really pleased to see them up there again.
It is a good start for them this season. So much to look forward to as a Darlington supporter, with the prospect of this fantastic new stadium to move into as well next season. Yeah, it'll be superb, and you know, I mean, you can't underestimate anything that George Reynolds does. I mean, he's achieved a lot in his lifetime, and he reckons that he's going to get the kind of support that he needs to fill a ground at 25,000. I would be very sceptical of it, but if he provides the players to do that, I'm sure the crowd will turn up. Good luck to him anyway. Well, you'll be one, so 24,999.
I'm not getting much chance to see them actually this year, but I mean, they're always the first result I look for.
Bob, thank you very much for the moments.
Mark Ford used to be team captain at Torquay, so imagine how smug he felt when he mashed in a stunning volley to give the Quakers the lead. And imagine how gutted he felt when a dodgy-looking penalty gave Alex Russell the chance to equalise. Mr. Ford and his Darlington teammates ended up with a long and miserable journey home after some shocking defending gifted the winner to Mark Nichols.
Darlington enjoyed a great night down at Feetham's. The Quakers hit Leyton Orient for 3. Barry Conlon scored right on half-time. Darlington manager Gary Bennett was delighted with his performance, and Paul Higginbottom finished off a superb second goal. Shocking goalkeeping led to Darlington's third. Steve Harper pounced on keeper Scott Barrett's mistake. It was still an impressive finish. Newcastle captain Alan
But it's Darlington who are up among the pace setters. We start our roundup at Feetham's. The Quakers hit 3 past last season's playoff finalist Leyton Orient in midweek, and Richard Hodgson's tap-in after only 4 minutes signalled another goals rush for the Feetham's faithful. Exeter are rooted to the bottom of the table, and with defending like that, it's not hard to see why. Danny Mellenby got the second and the third, first to the ball, and Arjen van Huysden was well beaten. The keeper's nightmare continued when his poor back pass rebounded off defender Dylan Kerr and fell for Mark Ford to slot home. He enjoyed this one. 4 goals and up to 4th for Gary Bennett's men.
Exeter are bottom, and you could see why at Feetham's, where the team with the poorest defensive record in the league were in trouble from the moment Danny Mellenby found a way through in the 5th minute. Richard Hodgson eventually getting the credit for putting Darlington ahead. Mellenby has, however, been credited with Darlington's second goal. He got the faintest of touches to guide Mark Convery's header beyond Arjen van Huysden. And Mellenby, who's making a big impression in his first season as a professional, hadn't finished. Even when Exeter tried to put the brakes on him, he still managed to wriggle free and beat Van Huysden. Noel Blake said afterwards that he even considered coming out of semi-retirement to play for Exeter on Saturday. This was an inept defensive performance, and the 4th goal was a real howler. Van Huysden's clearance hit Dylan Kerr, and Mark Ford really couldn't miss. Shrewsbury have gone to the top of the 3rd division, replacing Rochdale, who dropped down to 6th as a result of their 1-0 defeat at the Gay Meadow. Luton and Hull are now living up to their billing as promotion favourites. They're 2nd and 3rd, but only...
It was 7 points from 9 for our boys. We start our roundup at Feetham's, where Darlington took on the Football League's newcomers, Rushden and Diamonds. Darlington had scored 8 goals in the last 3 games, but found chances hard to come by. This 40-yard effort from defender Alex Jonin was an exception. Rushden's Richie Hanlon really should have done better, but a draw was probably a fair result. Danny Mellenby almost stole the points for Darlington, but the Quakers slipped 1 place to 6th.
More than 7,000 at Kenilworth Road, but Luton and goalkeeper Carl Emberson didn't make a particularly auspicious start. Darlington's Danny Mellenby could barely believe the goalkeeper's generosity. Luton are intent on making this season an exciting one. Thrills galore already, and they are scoring a lot of goals. How about this one for Matthew Spring? A truly magnificent effort. Early in the second half, Luton were in front. Stephen Howard heading in. But the lead was short-lived. Neil Wainwright finishing impressively, albeit with the help of a deflection. 2-2. And if Luton's Emberson was embarrassed by his first half slip, Darlington's Craig Liddell and Alexandre Jonin were both red-faced when Dean Crowe restored Luton's lead. 2 goals in 2 games for a player on loan from Stoke. Then a rather unnecessary challenge by Liddell on Howard presented Luton with a penalty. Kevin Nichols gratefully accepted the chance to put the game beyond Darlington's reach. 4-2 and soon to be 5-2. Another spectacular effort from Luton's French find, Jean-Louis Valois. Valois chose to join Luton this season rather than suffer the frustrations of being a bit part player at Lille. The entertainment wasn't over either. Darlington had a penalty, a foul by Nichols on Mellenby. But Barry Conlon saw his penalty kick brilliantly saved by Emberson. Then at the other end, and in stoppage time, a great run by Valois was stopped abruptly by Simon Betts. Nichols had been substituted, so Spring was given his chance, and his penalty was saved by Collett. The score, in case you lost count, 5-2.
Tomorrow we'll look ahead to all Saturday's action in the Premiership and the Nationwide League, but on Sunday there's a rather special game at Feetham's. They were the best days in Darlington's recent history. Conference champions in 1990, 4th Division title winners in 91. Now, with the help of current chairman George Reynolds, some of the Quakers' heroes are getting together to lend their support to a worthy cause.
A couple of times a year we get a charity team together made up of ex-Darlington pros and what have you, and obviously after the World Trade Centre we sort of got together and decided we wanted to try and do something for the emergency services that had been killed out there. Obviously they then launched an appeal for their families and stuff, so we decided to hold a game for that. Obviously we approached George and seen if we could use Feetham's, which he agreed to let us do, which is absolutely superb. I mean, to use a league stadium in the middle of the season, unheard of. And all we're asking now is people come down and support the game.
What they won't see on Sunday is more of this. The chairman might work wonders behind the scenes, but not out on the pitch.
No, I'm not much good myself. I'll tell you what, if they put me in goal, I'd be no good. The only games I ever played is when I played in Strange Ways, but I got no away games.
I bet he didn't. Racing now.
Darlington Football Club will stage a special match this Sunday between the Quakers' 1990 promotion team and a team of all-stars to raise funds for the US terrorist victims. Club chairman George Reynolds met police and fire service officers at Darlington New Stadium to make the announcement, although for obvious reasons the current ground Feetham's will host the event. Kick-off 2 o'clock, tickets £1.
So get along there if you can. Mark, thank you. Now,
another defeat for Hartlepool, but all eyes at the weekend were on Darlington. How would the Quakers cope with a new man at the top? All change at Feetham's, and we're not just talking about the manager. Hull had brought just the one strip, so Darlington dug out their away kit when the ref spotted the colour clash. Tommy Taylor's replaced Gary Bennett till the end of the season, but he couldn't bring a change of luck. Craig Liddell seemed to have got the ball first, but referee Mike Lowe gave the penalty. Gary Alexander put away his 10th goal of the season. Hull were down to 10 men when David Beresford saw red for a foul on Alex Shannon, but there was no way back for the Quakers. That's 4 defeats in a row, just 1 point from the last 15. Plenty of work for Taylor and assistant Mick Tate.
I just had a word with them before the game, said all the best to them, and went in half-time just to listen to what Mick was saying to them. And gone in the dressing room, heads a bit low, but we've got to pick them up and start afresh.
Well, at least it's moving in the right direction for Darlington's new manager. Tommy Taylor gave Paul Campbell his first start of the season, and he put the Quakers ahead at Halifax after 16 minutes. But the lead only lasted 6 more. Veteran Neil Redfern showed he's still got plenty left, though Darlington claimed offside. There was no doubting the Quakers' determination to end a 4-game losing run. Helped by some decidedly average defending, Neil Wainwright bludgeoned his way through and left his team with 19 minutes to hang on to a 2-1 lead, which they managed. It was stoppage time that did for them. Ian Fitzpatrick got the run of the ball and the time and space to chance his arm for the equaliser. But Taylor thought it was definitely better. Tommy Taylor locked his Darlington players in the dressing room for 20 minutes after this match. Shame his side collapsed 20 minutes from full time. Darren Moss hammered Shrewsbury in front with a great strike, and the Quakers conceded another 2 goals in 8 minutes. Alex Jennings challenged Luke Rogers in the box. So Nigel Jemson challenged keeper Andy Collett from the penalty spot and won. Collett then